Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. We've got an opportunity today to work on a reel that Abel sent in. This is a classic Mitchell 300, and while it looks nice on the outside, boy does it just kind of have a hard time cranking. We're going to call this one a grease-choked Mitchell 300. We're going to show you how the Mitchell reel gets serviced. And ideally what we'll show you is that we can give this reel a second chance. Well, Mitchell reels have been around a long time. They actually were introduced in the 1940s. They've made millions of the 300s. And, well, they're still a fan favorite today, if you will. What we need to do, though, is we need to keep them maintained. And in order to do that, well, we're going to take the whole reel apart. We'll show you how it is made and the key service points to it and how to keep this one running. I suspect we're going to have a lot of cleanup involved as well. I want to start by taking off this handle. That comes off opposite the direction that the handle cranks the reel. So in this case, it's a left-hand sided mount, so it comes off clockwise. I'm often asked, can we switch the handles on a Mitchell 300? No, you can't do that. Mitchell has a hard post on the side plate, and if you need a right-hand cranked reel, then you would buy the Mitchell 301. You saw when I first started here that I sprayed the screws with some penetrating oil just to help facilitate getting them out. And while I take them out, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, particularly if you'd like to see how reels are serviced and like to understand a little bit about how they're made and well, maybe help you along in making a decision as to what ones you might want to buy, collect, use, etc. Work on all kinds of reels. And well, that's kind of what the idea behind the channel is. I've removed the 3 screws. We can remove the side plate now. And this is a surprise to me. I thought what we were going to find is grease choked, and what we've got is total lack of grease. Well, both of them have a very similar problem and resolution. So let's show you this. This is an unusual slide for oscillation. You'll notice how the axle shaft goes up and down as this oscillation gear is turned. On the back end of this oscillation gear, there's 3 little arms that come off of that. They intersect with these loops here. You can see the indentations, and that's what's driving it up and down as those offset pieces move. I just took that slide off. We're going to clean the slide. Get all that old grease off of it. And when I take my pieces and parts off, they go into a parts tray so that I don't lose them when it comes time to reinstall. Next up, what we'd like to do is remove this carrier. We can remove the axle shaft now. There's a stud or a hole in the bottom of the axle shaft where that stud from the slide goes. That's what causes this to go up and down. There's 2 screws here that come off next. Sometimes these get stuck and get stubborn in the case. That one's very cooperative. Let's see if we have just as much luck on the other side. Sometimes you really have to put some effort into them. Not this time. So those are our 2 studs. If you look on the back side, that's actually where those screws are tapped into. And again, take those and put them off to the side. And now we can remove the carrier here, or the slide body, or whatever they want to call it. That's going to enable us to clean the inside of the reel. Well, this is still turning very tightly, so the issue with the tightness is actually up here. We want to remove this cover then. And to do that, Mitchell made a tool. It's a 12mm socket. You don't need the Mitchell tool, but it will help you if you don't have a socket that can support that. You do need the socket because it's a deep bowl for the reach in. So let's see what's going on here. Underneath this we should have a washer. We do. And if anything, I think we're probably missing a washer underneath here. Well, we have a couple of them, so I don't think that's the issue. And just a little bit of dirt in the bowl. So something's kind of odd there. Let's take a moment here to spray this. wondering if something just got trapped in there that was causing it to kind of perform badly. We're going to clean up the inside. There is some old grease in here. You can see that on the cotton swab I'm using. And we'll use some paper towels. Paper towels are good because you don't transfer the dirt from one project to the next. If you were using, say, a shelf cloth or a rag or something. Let's wipe that down. You don't want to leave old grease in your reel after service because, well, it can contain contaminants that can get into the gears pretty easily and, well, foul up the reel. All right, that case is pretty clean. All right, so we got a couple of pieces and parts here. I'm going to leave the big pieces out. We'll take the baffle plate and not put that in. Same thing with the nut that's holding the rotor assembly on. Clean up the slide. There's only one little part of this slide here that works, and then of course this holds the runner on the other side. Let's fold that over. All right, I want to see what's going on with this. We simply put this back on. That should spin nice and easy, which it does. So I'm not quite sure what was causing the issue, but this one seems to work fine. Let's see on the slip. Oh, we don't have the baffle plate to kick that out. Okay, there's a couple of things going on here. This is a little loose, so we should be able to tighten this screw down. Oh, it's a lot of loose. That's probably what was causing some of the performance issue there. That might even be bent. I may have to replace that arm. I just took a moment to replace that trip lever. Now we have a nice easy flip. A nice easy trip. Okay, we can put a little bit of grease onto this. Gear and the shaft, and we can reinstall the bowl. And again, this is turning the way it should turn, nice and free and easy now. Then we have the baffle plate. So this one looks like it's gotten scarred, and I think the reason for that getting scarred was the bend in that other trip lever. Most of the time, these will go right back on. These baffle plates have shims on them, and those shims are by the factory. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're just replacing something inside, best to leave those shims just the way they are. If you go and change the bowl, if you change the baffle plate, and just check, because that piece there is to take up any slack. Let's see now. Yeah, we got a nice smooth turning one now. More importantly, when we go to set it, does it trip? Turning it the wrong way. There you go. We got a nice mouse trap going there. So we're all set. Okay. So something up top was causing that issue. It's probably the fact that this has been bent out of shape. When it's bent out of shape, it was rubbing against the baffle plate, and because it was rubbing against the baffle plate, it impacted the performance. All right, 1 gear, 2 gears, 3 gears. We already showed you the 4th gear. This is your anti-reverse. I'm going to pull that off too. This is your anti-reverse dog and spring set. I'm going to do the same thing here we did with the other one. Just clean it up. And again, I was proven wrong one more time. I'm proving that I'm human all the time, I guess. But my take on it was that we're going to see something from a lack of grease, or I'm sorry, overloaded with grease. Had nothing to do with the grease situation at all. All right, just clean that last little spot there. So a little bit of dirt on this one. You're going to find a whole bunch of different anti-reverse dogs inside these reels. This one has a flat blade on it. Some of those you're going to find have got plastic with teeth on them that intersect with the main gear. This one is, well, it's what it should be. Okay, this goes sort of like this, except that I have it upside down. Okay, this is set for the on position now. When you turn this cam, you'll notice that it moves it out and away, like that. And that's the way you want it when you install your main gear. Clean out the main gear, clean off the face. If you notice any dirt and debris in there, bring a soft brush through. Clean out the teeth, inspect them, make sure that they're all nice and straight and all aligned symmetrically. These are aluminum gears. They do from time to time chip or bend. You got two gears on here, a small one in the front and a big one on the back, and the gear shaft. So let's bring the gear shaft in first. Bring that into the hole. Next up we have this pinion gear up top. And check on the back of that. Usually there's a washer there. There is a washer on this one. Again, it's going to facilitate it turning easier. So let's clean off the back of this. This is what's going to drive the bowl up top, the rotor. Get a little bit of grease on the back side. Get grease on the front side. So the back side intersects with the larger part of the wheel here. This one intersects with the gears on the bowl there. Make sure you have that little washer on the back end of that. On the bottom end of this, we have the, I call it a transfer gear. There's probably a better name for it than that, or a more official name for it than that. This is going to drive the oscillation system gear. Same thing, make sure it's clean. Let's get some fresh grease on there. And this one's going to sit just like that. That's your gear side. Let's go back and install the body side. We're just going to start with that sleeve or slide. The only place you need grease is right there. That's where the axle shaft is going to slide. Two sides to this. There's something that looks like a field goal post that faces up, and the slide side faces down. These small screws, I like to use a screw starter to get those going. I don't tighten it all the way down because it's a split blade. If you over torque the blade, you could break the blade or bend the blade out of shape. So I just use it to start it. Then I'll finish it off with the regular screwdriver. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel in particular, if you leave them in the comments section, I will try to answer those questions for you and try to help you out there. All right, we have our axle shaft. You're going to find when you look at your reels, some have 4 tags up top, some have 2. Don't panic if yours only has 2. That's what's going to hold the spool on. A little bit of grease onto the shaft, bring that through the body, bring it down, and once you find the bottom, take the slide, apply the grease to the side and inside the loops, then put the stud into the hole in the axle. I guess sometimes easier said than done. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble because I'm aiming the camera, not necessarily doing it the easy way for me. All right, grease onto our oscillation gear. Remember those 3 studs we talked about. Bring your slide all the way down. Start with your studs on the bottom. Merge that in. And before you close the reel up or go any further, turn it to make sure you have a complete rotation. If you don't have this set right, you're going to stop at one point or the other. You won't have that full rotation there. Once you've decided that that's what you have, good rotation, put a little bit of grease on the back side of this. Now we can transfer the case over and align those screw holes. Then we can go to the 3 screws that we first took out. Those screws are all the same length. I made a note of that. You would want to check the same thing as you're doing yours. Since they're the same length, they can go in any of the holes. And we'll tighten that up. So, interestingly enough, the Mitchell 300 is a 0 ball bearing reel. I know that sounds surprising when we get on the market today and see reels with 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 ball bearings. This one has got some of the most sophisticated engineering for a fishing reel as well. You've seen a lot of that. All right, the spool goes on. This one's got some line that just wants to keep going. I'm going to grab a rubber band here. Put that on to hold the line. Snap that spool on, make sure it's holding. That's where the tags were. Let's bring the handle on. Tighten that down. The handle has a through screw, so you can put a little bit of oil there on both sides. If you needed to replace the knob, you can remove this handle and just simply replace the knob. All right, let's see how we did. Look at this. What a treasure. All right, remember we had this in the off anti-reverse because we wanted to load the main gear. Put that back on. Abel, you have a beautiful reel here. Wow. Just set the bail, make sure that it's ready and snapping. That does nicely. Okay, there you go. Another Mitchell 300 has the opportunity to go fishing again. I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you did like it, please indicate that by liking the video. And again, if you haven't subscribed and you'd like to see more of these, please go ahead and subscribe and use that notification button to see when the videos will be posted. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, thanking our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody that works on our behalf. And, well, thanking everybody for watching and wishing everybody a great day on the water.